Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live and it is the post-match reaction for Arsenal's. Well, it was a very tight game in the end, but it was a 2-1 victory against Fulham. We're joined by Steve, Kate and Jerome Marks. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, good morning, mate. Good morning, everybody out there.
And how you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, all fine. Thanks. Got me coffee, so all good.
There we go. All right. Steve, firstly, what's your thoughts on the results yesterday?
Yeah, tough match. Probably the toughest one that we've had so far. I thought Fulham played very well. I thought they defended really well. I thought Silva set them up really well, and we found it hard to break down. But it was good to see that. We mentioned last week. Jerome mentioned last week about going goal behind, and what would happen then. Well, we went a goal behind, and we come back, and our levels didn't drop, and then we went on and won the game. So overall, it was a good day at the office. But I don't think it was too much of. I thought we did more or less what we've done over the last 3 games. I just thought out of the teams that we've played so far, I thought Fulham were the best team that we've played, and they was a candidate for me to go down this season, and for me, they're not going down, on that form, and considering the way they played against Liverpool as well early in the season. And I'm quite a big fan of Mitrovic, and he's going to score goals. So, but overall, it was a good performance, a tough performance, but we come away with the 3 points, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Jerome, what's your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Yeah, really, really hard game, wasn't it? I think Fulham done so well although we had a lot of the ball, especially in the first half, they restricted us to hardly any shots. I mean, first half, Leno hardly had anything to do. I mean, he made the one good save from Saka, but apart from that, we didn't really create too many clear-cut chances. Mm-hmm. Despite playing well, you couldn't really fault any of the players. I thought they all played pretty well. It was just that final ball, perhaps, or just creating that chance. And when we went a goal down, I sort of said to myself, look, we've had an amazing start. If we drop a couple of points here, so be it. But to come back and win the game, amazing. 4 out of 4, and unbelievable start. Just continues.
Yeah, no, it does. Let's get into the player ratings then. Make sure anyone in the comment section hit that like, hit that subscribe if you are new to the show and the channel, and get your player ratings in first. Make sure you get your player ratings before we get in ours. I don't want to accuse you of copying, you know what I mean? But let's get them in. So Ramsdale's coming up next, people. Get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. Steve, Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, I thought he played well. He didn't have a lot to do in the game, but when called upon, I thought he done well. He had a dodgy moment with the ball when he threw the ball out, and it caused problems, and Fulham came back to us, and that could have caused a problem. Other than that, he made 2 very, very good saves late on in the game in the second half, which he dealt with very well. So overall, a good performance from Ramsdale. I'm going to give him. Every time I come in here, I always know what I'm going to give him. And when I sit down here, I always give him totally different. 7.
7 for Ramsdale. Jerome, what you giving Aaron Ramsdale?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he made maybe not great saves, but saves at really important times, especially after we equalised. I think Mitrovic had a header from a corner that he saved quite well. And he came out near the end to claim a cross when we were a bit under pressure. He had that moment, didn't he, when he smashed the ball in Mitrovic's head in the first half. Luckily that didn't bounce behind him and go in the goal. But yeah, I'll give him a 7 as well.
All right. Ramsdale gets 7 from Steve and from Jerome. Kieran Tierney back in the squad yesterday with after Zinchenko with a late injury in training, I think it was. Steve?
Yeah, I'm not I don't know what Jerome. I'm not going to be too hard on Kieran Tierney because he's come. It was his first game back, and to me, he looked very rusty. But I pretty much expected that. He certainly doesn't give us what Zinchenko does. Not by that performance, so that's why I'm not going to go too hard on him. But you could see the difference in having Zinchenko at left back and having Tierney at left back. He looked rusty to me. He wasn't getting down the lines as much. He defended okay. He was just all right. But going by that performance, you would say that we really missed Zinchenko on that left-hand side. And I think probably one of the reasons why, although Jesus played pretty well, he wasn't in as much as the game as what he's been recently. So I'm not going to be too hard on him. But I'm only going to give him a 5, I'm afraid. I'm sure he'll get better.
5 for Tierney from Steve. Jerome, Tierney?
Yeah. I'll maybe go for a 6, but you probably couldn't argue with a 5. He looked a bit. He looked like he didn't have as much confidence in terms of like going forward with the ball. Like whether that was, like Steve said, I think the word was right. It was a bit rusty. I think there's a very clear first and second choice left back now for Arsenal. And the added value that Tierney gives you is his ability to sort of bomb on down the line, get crosses in, add value to our attack. That is his, like, you call it superpower. And if he's not doing that, like defensively he was fine, but we've got basically 3 other centre halves playing in the team, and so you want him to add a bit more going forward. And I think there was a time in the first half when he sort of came in field a bit like what Zinchenko does, and he just didn't look comfortable there. He just didn't look like he belonged in that area of the pitch. It's not that he'd done an awful lot wrong, but it's not that he sort of brought too much to the team. Mm-hmm. So but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt being the first game back. Maybe that sort of yard of pace will come with a few more games, a bit more game time. But I'll go for a 6, I reckon, Tierney.
Yeah, I think he's just come back off a bad injury. He hasn't really had a pre-season. And his game is a very athletic game, bombing up and down and getting crosses in. So, he's definitely bound to be rusty. I think I'll probably give him a 6. Gabriel, early mistake, then made up for it with a goal. Steve, Gabriel.
Yeah, let's say how it is. It was an absolutely awful mistake. Let's get it right. I mean, it was fantastic work from Mitrovic, who I thought was just a threat the whole game. I think Man United should have gone from him rather than Arnautovic, I think, and I wouldn't have argued with it. He probably could have done the job for him. But yeah, I mean, it was an absolutely awful mistake. Apart from that, he was good defensively. Thought he was good on the ball. He was doing okay. As I said, Mitrovic gave him a little bit of a hard time all through the game, but I think he will do that to any defender. But then he's gone up and he's not let it bother him, and he's popped in the box and he's got his goal. I mean, scrappy goal that it was. They all can. So really pleased for him because it could have gone on and it could have lost us the game, but it didn't. As he said, his brothers got railed round him and lifted his head up, and full marks to him after that. So I'm going to give him. Difficult one to mark, this one. It was an awful mistake. It was a terrible mistake. There's no denying that. So it's going to be a low. I'll give him a low 6 for the goal because he I'll give him a 6.
6. Jerome, what are you giving Gabriel?
Yeah, Steve's spot on. It's so hard to mark him because he had 2 extremes in the game. The mistake is horrific. It is such a bad mistake. He wasn't helped, in fairness. It wasn't, a great ball by Saka, but it was a ball that or he gets probably put in that position, Gabriel, many times a game when he can control the ball and then move out of it. And I think his sort of first touch is a bit dodgy, and it gets him in all sorts of bother. And Mitrovic does so well because although his touch isn't great, Gabriel, to win the ball off of him it still takes some doing. But to nick the goal at the end, that sort of helped him a lot, didn't it? Mm-hmm. But it's good to see the fans didn't seem to get on his back at all. They didn't support him as much as maybe Saliba when Saliba made the mistake. But I think it might be because that Gabriel one was 10 times worse than what Saliba did.
Yeah,
even though Saliba's was actually an own goal, Gabriel's was terrible. Hopefully he'll learn from it. There was something, it might have been in the documentary, where I don't know if we spoke about this, but one of the coaches said to him, Gabriel, you seem to get yourself in trouble if your first touch isn't good. If your first touch is good, then that's it. You're away.
Yeah, I do remember that.
When you get the ball stuck under your feet or the touch isn't great, you panic a bit, and that's where mistakes happen.
Yeah. But his first touch was excellent, wasn't it? His first touch was actually excellent because it came down from up in the air and he's brought it down and he's killed it onto the floor, stone dead. It was his second touch that took it. Yeah. He took a second touch and then Mitrovic knocked it in. Yeah,
he got himself in a bit of unnecessary bother, which you don't expect players at that caliber to do.
When in doubt, kick it out.
Yeah, that's it. So maybe I was 6, I suppose, for Gabriel.
Right, Gabriel gets a 6 from Jerome. Okay, next up it was William Saliba.
Yeah, another good performance, I thought, from William Saliba. Again, we keep using the word Rolls Royce performance. He was good. He did what he had to do when called upon. He did his job. I'll give him 7.
All right, Jerome, William Saliba.
Oh, excellent. He's won Young Player of the Year already, isn't he? William Saliba. I mean, who else is going to beat him for Young Player of the Year? Unless they give it to Phil Foden again. Phil Foden seems to have won it for the last 5 years in a row. He's different class, Saliba. So good on the ball. Sprayed one out to Saka in the second half. He sort of took the ball, I think, past Mitrovic, it might have been, and then sprayed it out to Saka. Yeah, I'll give him an 8. I thought he was top draw. And his celebration at the end was good as well. When we scored, he went mad. Saliba. Oh
yeah, no, he was going crazy, weren't he? It was like it was his own goal.
Yeah. He ran away from the goal like he'd scored it, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was. That was funny. I see pictures of that. Ben White, Steve.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think he's taken the right back position in my eyes, and I know it's more against Fulham, especially because where the centre backs probably needed a little bit more help. When it comes to sort of, I keep mentioning Mitrovic, he's great when he comes across and he's able to deal with and be that extra centre back as well as the right back. He was good going forward. He was assured on the ball. I can't remember too many times when he got caught out of position, and the block, towards the end, when we got across the goal and he made that block was fantastic. For me, last week I was sort of debating in my own head, when Tomiyasu fit, should we bring him in? And if he has a few more averagey goody games, should we bring Tomiyasu? I'm not in any doubt about it. He stays there right back for the moment, because I think he was absolutely outstanding yesterday. Thought he was the best along that back line. I thought he was the best player. So for me, he gets an 8.
Eight for Ben White. Jerome.
I thought he had a good game, Ben White. I think he seemed quite aggressive. He went on in the second half when we were sort of trying to get a goal. He went on a couple of runs, didn't he? Where he sort of just took the ball by the horns, I suppose, and just thought, right, I'm going to go for this. And he took the ball Dribbled with it quite high up the pitch. Went on a couple of decent runs. I thought he was very solid. So I'll probably agree with Steve and give him an 8.
All right, that's 2 8s there. Mohamed El Neni coming in for Thomas Partey. Steve Partey, El Neni.
Yeah, I don't get this Twitter crowd. Partey's not a Partey. He's not an El. You know why he wasn't as good. We didn't have as much as in midfield as what Partey was. I thought it was absolute. I thought he did his job again. I thought he was excellent. I thought we know what we get from El Neni. I didn't think there was a problem with any of our midfield players. I thought he won the ball. I thought he was very good. I think he's getting better on the ball. Actually, the quick passing that you have to have with this Arsenal team, he's sort of learning it and he's getting better at it. It wasn't really his thing. It was the simple thing, the pass back or the side ball, which some people I'm sure they've got like something in their drafts that they just click out every game El Neni plays, and it says side ball, back pass, because they ain't got a clue about anything else about football. But for me, he was excellent. As I say, his ball control's getting even better. He's passing forward. He's getting better. For me, he just has done as good as what Partey's done all this season. So for me, he gives a 7.
All right, Steve gives him a 7. Jerome, what's your thoughts on El Neni?
El Neni, he's played it very safe. That was, I guess, a standard game where he didn't sort of take too many risks. I guess when you're playing in that position, you need to sort of keep it safe. When you're obviously searching for the goal, maybe as fans you expect a little bit more perhaps, but that's just not El Neni's game. That's not what he does. But in the first half, I thought he intercepted a couple of balls quite well, nicked the ball away from their players when they could be in those positions. But it was okay. I give him like average okay, and he maybe a 6. I think a steady Eddie is the best. Like Stu's just said, steady Eddie is the best way of describing his game yesterday. Very, very steady, very safe.
Yeah, I think I'd give El Neni a 6. The slight differences that you do get with Partey and El Neni, it's when the game's been simplified so much with the way that we play, where he literally just sits in. The slight nuances in each other's games, I think it shows. And I'll give him a 6. Granit Xhaka.
It wasn't as good as the Granit Xhaka performances that he's probably done recently, but it was still a good performance. It was still a decent performance. He was getting in good positions going forward. Not got really much else to say. Probably a low 7, but I'll give him a 7.
All right. Jerome, Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, I'll probably give him a 7, slightly better than El Neni. He had I don't know if it was a good chance. He had a chance in the first half. I think it was a volley on his right foot. It would have been an amazing finish if it would have gone in. I can't remember who played the ball to him, but it was a nice team move. Mm-hmm. But when Partey's not in the midfield, like you do need someone like Xhaka there. And I think he went out to left back for maybe a few minutes, and that I think Arteta quickly changed that and put him sort of back in the middle. But yeah, he was fine. Like we controlled, despite maybe not being fantastic in the midfield. Like we controlled the game quite well. Like we had lots of possession, and a lot of that is down to the midfield. So maybe I'll give Xhaka a 7 as well.
All right, Granit Xhaka with a 7. Yeah, no, I think it wasn't really it was a tough game. Well, really a game where anyone's sort of standing out in those congested areas, because Fulham didn't give us any time of day in there. Like Fulham were really good yesterday. Harrison Reed is a good player who caused us trouble actually last time when we played Fulham early on when Scotty Parker was manager a couple of seasons ago. Their left back Robinson was really good yesterday. Very impressed with him. And they were just very well organised. So it was hard to sort of get anything out of anything in this game. One man who did very well, Martin Odegaard, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding. I don't know what this player's capable of. I don't know. He's already sort of getting towards the Santi Cazorla, Fabregas class. I mean, whether he get onto the Bergkamp, but yesterday he was absolutely outstanding. There wasn't a thing he did wrong. He was great at coming forward with the ball. His passing was excellent. The plan that his balls where he was chipping over the Fulham's heads. I mean, the Fulham defence was so good, right? And you needed Odegaard to do his stuff yesterday, and he swore then done it, right? Because he was playing balls through Lim like they did not exist. Whether it was through the channels, whether it was over their heads, he's popped up and scored a goal. Absolutely excellent. Fantastic captain's performance. I don't know what all these people on about saying that he shouldn't be captain. Absolute rubbish. Absolutely brilliant from him. High 9. If we would have got another goal, I would give him a 10. Another 9. 9 last week. 9 this week.
Where are these people saying that he should be captain?
Just twats.
Wait, I've not seen that. That's nuts.
You see all sorts on Twitter.
Yeah, I was going to say
there's a lot of people on Twitter.
Find something anywhere on Twitter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have that as the bar. Like, some of them people. Martin Odegaard, Jerome.
This is the difference. This is why some fans, including myself, get frustrated with him when he's a bit quiet, because the difference in Odegaard is night and day when he's quiet and when he has a game like yesterday. It's like two completely different players. First half, maybe if you're being slightly critical, he had a couple of chances where he could have shot near the edge of the box and decided to maybe try and set someone up instead. But the second half was what Odegaard is about, where he literally did grab the game by the scruff of the neck and was getting involved. And I think Steve mentioned like a couple of chip balls. I think there was one, it might have been to Nketiah perhaps, when he came on, just an unbelievable ball. But that is the level that he set. Like when you can see him play like that, that's why when he has a quiet game, you think you're capable of so much more. Like your quality is so high. But look, he stepped up and not single-handedly won us the game, because he didn't do that. But his goal was obviously very important. And you can call it in one way a captain's performance, wasn't it? So definitely gets a 9 for yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one, because how much of like he didn't play bad in those first two games. Like he didn't play bad. It's just the standards you're expecting of him, it wasn't there. He played like as if just a normal player was playing in them positions. Like, and you could have just stuck anyone in there and he'd done a job. But is that just him getting into the season? Because we saw his first season took him a bit longer. Obviously, he was new at the club. Probably his second half of the season was a better half. Then last season, it took him about 10 games to really get into it. And once he did, he was flying, which is a reason why I potentially just missed out on player of the season, because Saka was probably a bit more consistent from the start of the season. And now, like 2 games in, looks okay. But then since then, the last 2 games, he's been absolutely brilliant. And this could be the season which really makes him. I think I said it in pre-season. He's key. He's massively key. Obviously, this was before we got Zinchenko in. But yeah, Odegaard is key to where Arsenal come this season. I think he could hit double figures in goals, double figures in assists, and then if he gets that 10 goals, 10 assists, and around that, we're talking about Champions League easily. Steve Martinelli.
Yeah, again, another very good performance from Martinelli. Stand performance, getting very, very dangerous. He looks really up for it this season. You know, just terrorising their right-sided players. Thought he was excellent. He got the corner right in the end for the goal. But he's just a constant danger all through the game for me. I thought he played really well. It was just a good stand and Martinelli. He just causes so many problems during the game. When he gets the ball, very similar. The closest I can get is when I used to watch Robert Pires every single week, and as soon as he got the ball, you was off your seat, you moved forward because you just knew that something was going to happen, and that's very similar to Martinelli. And the exciting thing with Martinelli, I mean, he's just so young, and we've got Pires and we're at an age. Martinelli is just a baby, in comparison. I thought he was excellent. Some of the things didn't pay off. As I said, the corners were a bit off, but he got the one right in the end that mattered. Good performance from Martinelli. High 7, but I give him a 7.
All right, 7 for Martinelli. Jerome, Martinelli.
Yeah, probably agree with Steve in terms of a high 7. Bit of a mixed bag with his corners, but let's face it, he's not in the team because of his corner taking skills. It's just that he happens to be able to take corners. I think that when you hear players that train with Martinelli, they say, "Oh, he never stops. He's always running, always working." Most players, after 60, 70 minutes, they sort of look a bit tired. I don't think he gets tired. I think he can play at the same pace for the whole game. And I think that when he's keeping Smith Rowe not out of the team for like a half. Smith Rowe didn't even come on yesterday. And you would think that, we need to go, let's freshen it up a bit. Let's bring on Smith Rowe for Martinelli. It seems like quite a good substitution, quite a good switch. And that didn't happen at all.
But yeah, you don't want to lose that energy, do you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he can go for 90 minutes. I know he pulled up with cramp, but that was in injury time. But I think his work rate is ridiculous. And I know the Brazilian coach there yesterday watching, and you can't help but be impressed by him. Some things didn't all come off. I thought the right back played him quite well. Tete for Fulham.
Another good performance from their defence.
Yeah, defensively seemed very good, like one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But he's so forthright in his approach, Martin. It's attack, go forward, go forward.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. Like, especially if you've got maybe a couple of centre midfielders that are a bit more disciplined, maybe you need your wide players to really be positive and forward thinking, and that's what he is, Martinelli. And more goals will come. That's not a problem. But he's getting assists from corners and stuff. That's just a bonus, really. But yeah, give him a 7.
Yeah, and if you're looking at on paper, it was 2 assists, 2 goals this season already. So again, he's getting the numbers up, and that's what people will be looking at the end of the season. We see his performances week in, week out. We see what energy he brings. But yeah, it's important to get those stats up as well. Bukayo Saka, Steve.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka. He needs a rest. He's not the buyer because I can never say that name. He needs a rest. I can see why Arteta wants to bring someone in quite urgently, and it seems to be our priority at the moment. He's not been the player that he has been the last season or two. I don't want to go too hard on him because he's great and he on his day he's world class. But for the last 4 games, he's just not doing it. He's in spells. He will do things. He will, like he got the assist for Odegaard's goal. He misses so many chances for me. Again, he should have scored that goal. I mean, Jerome said Leno made a good save. I mean, he had to make the save, but he should have scored that. And the worrying thing is, I knew he'd miss. And that's worrying when you think you're not going to score this. You're 1-on-1 on the goalkeeper. You're not going to put it in. And you saved it and you're like, missed. But he does good things in the game. So I can't. But there's something we do need. He needs help. He needs a rest. We've said it for ages now. He needs a rest. He was getting caught on the ball a lot. Yeah, he just don't look right. Even in his face on the pitch, he looks down. He looks a bit. He looks un-Saka-like. He did good things in the game. Yeah, he did, and people will point out those good things. But as an Arsenal fan, you do have to, come on here and you do have to say it how it is. And something's not right with him at the minute. So for me, anyway, I'm not worried because I know in the next 4 or 5 games he'll be back and we'll be seeing the Saka he's up. But he definitely needs. I can definitely see why Priority is a right winger and why they want to get Neto in. Just to give him some rest and to give him some help and to bring him off because he still never comes off. Hardly ever. He's probably knackered. So for me, it's like a high. I mean, I was thinking about a 5, but he did do good things in the game. It's a low 6 for me. And I'm just praying that against Villa, we see him back because he needs help. He needs help. He needs a rest. It's too much for him. So, yeah, 6 at the minute. Now, it hurts to say these things, but I have to say what I say.
All right. Jerome, Saka.
Yeah, you got to say it as it is. There's no other way. I think it's a bit of a catch-22 with Saka. He's definitely been overplayed, 100%. I think that taking everything into consideration, I think he probably would perform better, I think, with Tomiyasu behind him. But saying that, Ben White's been brilliant. So it's a bit of a catch-22 because I don't think you can drop Ben White. But I think that if Tomiyasu was behind him, maybe that would bring out something else in his game, perhaps. Just being playing in front of a regular right-back that knows the position a little bit better. I thought there were some glimpses yesterday of his old self. I thought he, definitely had some bright moments. But like we said at the beginning, Kieran, their left back defensively was excellent. Every one-on-one, I thought he handled him really well. Probably one of the best we've seen up against Saka. You thought that to beat him, he would have to do something really special. I think Leno like Steve said, you do fancy him to score that, Saka, but he was very quick on the ball to get into that position. But yeah, as Steve said, well overplayed, needs a rest. I'd love to see us get a player of high quality to compete with him or to help him out on the right. And I think Marquinhos, it might be a bit too soon for him. I think we need someone that is Premier League ready that can come in and share the minutes with him. And I think that will help Saka. And I think that will means that when he plays, he'll be a bit fresher, a bit sharper, and it'll only benefit the team. Yesterday, what do I give him out of 10? I didn't think he was too bad. I'd probably give him a low 7. But yeah, look, it's not last season. All our hopes were on him, and now it's being shared around a bit. And it's as Steve said as well, not worried at all with this. No way is it like a big concern, but we just know how much talent he's got and what he can do. And I think a bit of rest, a bit of competition, maybe a bit of change perhaps in the personnel around him. And I think that it'll be the Saka of last season.
Yeah, I think all of these things that you've said there, they all play a part. But Tomiyasu, it's a different type of player with Ben White. Ben White, he's overlapping a little bit more, but not as much as you're going to get with a Tomiyasu or even a Cedric. With Saka, he's had three straight seasons with no rest, and even when they tried to give him a rest, Kolasinac got injured and Saka had to come in at left back. So the kid's had no rest. He's had tournaments, and he's gonna go and have a World Cup halfway through the season as well. So I don't worry about his form and his development. I do worry about him getting injured. That's what I worry about, and I don't want this to turn into a Raheem Sterling Liverpool situation when he ended up going Man City, and then by the time he'd left Arsenal, there was there was a large contingent of the fans saying he was no good, he was this, he was that, and then picking out his shortcomings. We all know that Saka's got the ability to be a world-class Uber player, but I think Arsenal need to look after him. And right now, I don't think they are. It worries me about his injuries, man, because it's going to break down. And even if it's not physically, this kid mentally, he's been through a hell of a lot. So yeah, that's my worry with Saka. They do need to get in a winger that's gonna challenge him and not drop our levels when that winger comes in as well. So yeah, I think the 6 because he got an assist and he in that first half there were, I think you said it as well, Jerome. There were moments and to get that shot off where he's got through, cut it back, and then got it onto his left. He does need to be more clinical there. But we've been saying that for the last couple of seasons. But yeah, give him some help, people. Give him some help, Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus, Steve.
Yeah, not as in the game as he has been over the last 3 games, but that's sort of like that's no big deal. He was still buzzing around. He was still Gabriel Jesus. The chances were probably falling to the wrong people when they should have been. You wish they was falling into Gabriel Jesus. They was falling into Saka, and they was falling into Eddie Nketiah when he was coming on. You was like, oh, why ain't he falling to Jesus? He'd be putting these away. We probably would have won the game 4-5-1. He just had one of them games, but off the ball, his strength, his passion, his will to win for the game, it was all there. Just he wasn't getting the chances. I can't. Did he have any many shots on goal? I can't. I bet he might. No, he's just trying to think. There wasn't. It was all falling to other people all the time. Because I remember watching the game, and especially when Eddie come on, and I was like, "Oh, why ain't that falling to Jesus? Why ain't it falling?" But other than that, if you take away that part of his game and you look at the rest of his game, it was excellent. Pure, like all over the pitch. But I think that something I noticed, he probably was coming deeper a lot more than what he had been over the last few games. I noticed. And I was trying to think, why are you doing that? What are you doing that for? Why? I come to the conclusion in the end that it might have something to do with Tierney and Zinchenko not being there, because Zinchenko seems to have this little telepathic thing with Jesus, and they play together, and Zinchenko seems to come forward, cut inside, and they get involved more. Tierney just wasn't doing that, and that's why I think Zinchenko's the left back for me. That might have been something to do with his the quietness of his forward play. The rest of it was great, but I give him 7.
Oh, Chu said he had a shot on goal from Xhaka's cutback. All right.
Yeah, he opened his body up, tried to put it in the bottom right hand corner, and Leno just sort of quite easily dived down to his left.
Yeah, I got it.
Check there, Chu. Thank you very much. Make sure you press that subscribe button there, mate. Thank you very much there.
Thanks for the reminder.
What did you give him, Steve? 6?
7.
Jerome, Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, I'd agree with 7. Maybe the quietest game he's had so far for us, perhaps. Still played very well. I think maybe one of the reasons he was coming deep, they defended well for them. There wasn't a lot of space in between their defenders. So I think he maybe had to sort of drop back a little bit to try and get a bit more involved. But still busy. But maybe a little bit more quiet than he has been. Mm-hmm. I think that when they bought Nketiah, I think that helped liven things up a bit up front.
Yeah, no, it definitely did.
But he was getting annoyed when he was maybe getting tackled. You could see like how passionate he is. And yeah, maybe just a game that he sort of got snuffed out a bit, Jesus. Because you do want to see the chances fall to him. But I think he was maybe working hard in other areas and other players were in those positions, perhaps. But yeah, not bad by any means. He was fine. And yeah, on another day, might have nicked a goal. But yeah, I'd give him a 7 as well for yesterday.
All right, 7 for Gabby Jesus. Eddie Nketiah, Steve.
I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was outstanding, and he's been outstanding every time he's come on as a sub for me. He's all action. He was getting in the box. He again, no disrespect to Eddie. I was saying he must have had about 2 or 3 chances to score goals, which I think on 2 of them, I think he should have scored, especially the one where I think who was it? I don't know. Who was who chipped it over the ball, chipped it over the head of the defenders? Was it Odegaard? I'm not sure. It might have been someone else. And
Yeah,
it just
no, it was Odegaard.
Yeah, and then Eddie just fantastic first touch, but just should have hit it first time. Didn't. I think if Jesus was there, he would have just hit it first time, bang, and it would have been a goal. But look, Eddie, I think, what's the highest you can give a sub? Because I think he did everything. He was, for how long he was on. I thought he caused Fulham's defence problems. Yes, they were probably tired by then a little bit, but that's why we've got Eddie Nketiah on the bench. He comes on, and now every time he comes on, he looks like scoring a goal. And for me, he's showing his worth now. He's showing his worth, that he's worth every penny of that £100,000 a week. That some people have sort of gone and scoffed at a little bit. I think he's showing that he's worth that. And you need players like him, and he's a very, very, very important player for Arsenal going forward. Because if you can have someone to come on, because he made us look even dangerous when he came on. And when you think of the players that we've already got on the pitch, and you bring Eddie Nketiah on, you're thinking we've got another 3 chances when our subs comes on. It's great. It's fantastic, and full marks. I mean, I don't know what the highest mark you can give a sub. It's hard to give him a 7. I'd love to give him a 7. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6, but that's probably the highest sub without score I can probably give.
All right, Jerome, what are you giving it?
Brilliant.
Yeah, Steve, I think that's the best way of putting it. You give him the highest mark you can give to a sub, basically. I don't think people realise that when a substitute comes on, it's very hard to get into the game. You've been on the bench, the game's playing at a certain pace, and to get into it straight away and make an impact is very hard. People say it takes time to warm up into the game, but he done it unbelievably well. And what he showed when he came on, his attitude looked to me like someone that's like, I want to be playing in this team. Like, I'm going to prove why I should be playing, and that's the best attitude to have. And there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for someone that can come on for, I can't remember how long he was on the pitch for, half an hour maybe.
Yeah.
And have that much influence on a game. And I'm not saying he's going to be a sub every week and he's going to come on as a sub, but Solskjaer made a living out of that. And he's down to the Man United legend. It's a good skill to have, to come on and change a game. And he was exactly what we needed at that time. And he was busy. He was direct. He caused them a bit of trouble. And perfect. It's a perfect substitute performance from Nketiah. And because sometimes subs can come on, they can feel a bit sorry for themselves. They haven't been playing. But I think Arteta said he looked in his eyes and he saw he was ready for the fight. And you can't ask any more than that. So yeah, like Steve said, whatever score we can give him that's the highest for a sub is what I would give him. And I wouldn't be surprised. We've got United in a couple next weekend. We've got Villa at home on Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if Nketiah does play on Wednesday night. I'm not saying he will, but I wouldn't be surprised based on that performance.
All right, what are you giving Eddie?
The highest you can give him. If that's a 7, I'll give him a 7.
Right.
I'll give it an all then.
I think I'd give Eddie a 7 because of the impact he had. This was a very well organised Fulham team, and he ruffled their feathers a bit, which then created a little bit more space for us. Because it did feel like it was getting a bit frustrating. It felt like it was going to get we were kept on hitting a brick wall. It was one of those games, not too many chances, and I think the introduction of Eddie was perfect. His energy, like you said, he could come on and sulk and moan about not being in the team, but I mean, I'll bring it up again. You saw his attitude in that documentary. He knows his role in the team right now. It could change. Jesus could get injured, and he's ready for that when that does happen. Like, he's got a brilliant attitude. I've got a lot of more respect for Eddie Nketiah. I won't have a bad word said about this geezer.
The difference between him now and 2 years ago is massive, isn't it? Like, you can tell there's been a big difference.
He's matured massively. He's got a presence in the team which I don't feel like he had before. He's a part of the team, and yeah, no, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing because I don't think we're getting that same energy from some of the other strikers we've had previously in our team. When things have gone wrong, maybe before when everything was rosy, but since things went wrong, we weren't getting that same effort. The other two players come on for 1 minute. There's no point. Rob Holden and Tommy Yasu. It was like 95th minute, I think, one of them, and the 89th minute. Like, yeah, 5-5s. Steve, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of choice with team selection. Zinchenko's injured. He had to bring Tierney in. El Party was injured. I suppose you had to bring El Neni in, so I can't blame him for that. As I said, like right at the beginning of the show, we didn't really play any different than or set up any differently, or approach the game any differently, or the players weren't on it any differently than any other game, throughout the season. It was just Fulham played very well, and you are going to get these games at home. There's no easy game in the Premier League. No matter it, or maybe Bournemouth. I don't know. Maybe they're in a right old state at the moment. But for me, I got 9 again. I didn't see no difference. Well, no, all right, we won 3-0 away to last week against Bournemouth, but 2-1 at home against Fulham. But sometimes you got to look at the what he has to do, what choices he had to make when he made the subs. How did we set up? Was we any different? No. So 9. It was Gabriel's mistake. It weren't a defensive error or put someone in any differently who made a mistake. 9.
Jerome, what are you giving Mikel Arteta?
Yeah. I think we said it last week, sort of how are we going to react when we go a goal down, and to go a goal down in the second half. Obviously, he hasn't had a chance, Arteta, to have a team talk at half time and, give some instructions. But at the same time, obviously, you give the players massive credit for coming back, because that is not easy. But I think a part of the players coming back, and they get 90% of the credit, the other 10%, the manager's instilled something in them where they've got this spirit, I think, where the heads don't drop. Arteta has had a massive influence over the crowd, I think. I'm telling you, even in the Invincible days, the crowd were not as behind the team, I don't think, as they are now. Yeah. We haven't seen this before, I don't think, ever. Definitely not since I've been watching Arsenal. I've never seen the crowd like this. Maybe I don't know what it was like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, but since I've been going, never seen it like this. And that's down to the manager. I'm telling you, a lot of that is down to the manager. Substitutions, brilliant, bringing Nketiah on. That was the right sub to make. Taking off Tierney, I think that was a very good sub. I think that was the good. That was the sub, wasn't it? I think Nketiah for Tierney. That was, he was going for it. He could see that Tierney wasn't, adding much value. So we needed a goal, and let's take him. If we've got 3 other centre backs on the pitch. Yeah. I'll probably give him an 8, because I think the players deserve a lot of the credit, but Arteta definitely played his part for sure.
All right, an 8 for Mikel Arteta. All right, it's a tough game against Fulham. They deserve as much credit as we did in that game. They were excellent throughout, especially considering they're a newly promoted team. Tete and Robertson were one of the standouts, and obviously Mitrovic it causes nothing but trouble against most teams, and he made sure he did that yesterday and bagged the goal as well. Leno as well. Although not outstanding, I thought it was very good in his first game back against Arsenal, making a few vital saves for them. And I actually had them to go down, but it would fully depend on if they can keep their personnel fit, and if they can, Fulham will have a very good opportunity to stay up this season because they've got Silva, who's had Premier League experience, and they've got a very good team there. So I was very impressed with Fulham yesterday, but even more so impressed with Arsenal in their comeback because we put some tests out there. We were asked if what we would do if we went behind and how we would fare, and they did very well. So very commendable there for Arsenal. All right, that is all we have time for. If you are new to the show, press that subscribe button, press that like, and press that share button just to press the copy. And if you are a regular, press that like button and press that share button. Thank you very much for joining us today, Steve.
Cheers, mate.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today, Jerome.
Of course. Cheers. Thanks.
All right. Don't forget, we've got we'll be doing a combined Manchester United versus Arsenal podcast on Tuesday. So make sure you're there for that one. Getting ready for the big game on the weekend. Obviously, also we've got Aston Villa on Wednesday, so we'll be doing a post-match reaction of that game afterwards. Make sure you hit us up for that one as well. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.